Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we're on a brand new book and a brand new reflection, and I guess we are talking about the omnivore's dilemma.
We are, and the Omnivore's Dilemma is. Have you read? Have you read this book by any
No,
chance?
I have not. I wanted to. I just haven't had a. I didn't get to it yet.
It's it is definitely. I would say on this journey, it's definitely a top 15 book on the whole journey. It's a must reader. For me, I mean, like if anybody ever asked me, just like what was, yeah, like books that come to mind immediately that popped to
Mm,
mind on this that popped to
mm,
mind on this journey where I'm like, oh man, that was a really good book. Another
right.
one that Michael, actually a lot of almost all of Michael Pollan's books are like that. Honestly, he's such a good writer, man. He does such a good job of I don't know how to. Have you read any Michael Pollan books before by any chance?
Yeah, I think I did. Something about did we did we like Entangle Life or something? Oh,
That wasn't him. That was Merlin Sheldrake is the author of
mm,
that. No, Michael Pollan. We did
uh,
Botany of
I'm
Desire. That was one of them we
right,
did.
right. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we did
yeah.
How to Change Your Mind. That'll be coming up later on down the road. And that one's about like psychedelics. We did Cooked. We haven't done that one yet on this journey, but we'll do Cooked. No, wait, we did Cooked, didn't we? Where did it Cooked? I think.
I think we did it cook. We did
Yeah,
cook.
that was about transformations, right? Like transforming something from something. I think we already did Cooked. And then Omnivore's Dilemma is another one I've read of
Mm.
his, and I feel like there's one more I'm missing. But anyway, his books are awesome. I mean, they're really awesome. I think if I had to rank his books in order, I would say probably How to Change Your Mind is probably my number one choice, just because it's super interesting topic of like psychedelics. I just think it's an interesting topic.
Mm.
This would definitely be number two. Cooked would be number three, and then Botany of Desire would be number four. But but those are all be top 50 books on this journey for sure. I mean, anyway, what I'm getting at is this was a really good book. Like I really,
He
really.
he also has a book called Caffeine.
Oh, caffeine. We did caffeine. Yeah, that's right. We did that one already.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's not really a book. It's more like it's like a short little history of caffeine. Ironically, pretty much everything that we learned and that I learned in caffeine, I had already learned in the history of the world in six classes. He pretty much just like recapped, like, because
Mm.
that talks about caffeine, tea, uh spirits, beer, wine, and water. No, not water, Coca-Cola, sorry. The
That with that Pepsi?
well, like like
I know,
yeah,
I know,
yeah.
I know.
No, actually it was just Coke. No, you're right. It was just Coke. I mean, it wasn't about, it was just Coke.
Right.
And how they took over the world. Anyway, so this book is called The Omnivore's Dilemma. It's a natural history of four meals by Michael Pollan. And the 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 how does he do? What does he do? He goes through, how do I describe this book of what he talks about? Well, I mean, it's about the omnivore's dilemma, right? So if we can eat anything, if we can eat everything, it's what do we eat, and how do we decide what we eat, right?
That's my dilemma.
That is the omnivore's dilemma, right? Like,
Oh, that's my dilemma,
it's your,
specifically.
yeah, it is, yeah.
I can eat anything, but is it good for me?
That's true. That's the point. Is we can eat anything. Like humans have adapted to be like, oh, I'll put anything in my body, and we'll try to consume it. But that doesn't mean that it's right for you, right?
Mhm,
And that's really what this book is about. Is he's exploring, things like corn, and he's exploring, uh, poultry and
and wheat.
pig farmers and wheat and I mean he's exploring all of our cuisine that we eat and
Mhm.
why we eat, how we eat it, how it came to be what it came to be, and then he's also cooking a meal himself to try to figure out like how can he make this more sustainable and understand his food better and his meals better. It's just a really interesting book.
Yeah, I can really see the reflection.
Mhm.
In this, because it's totally true. And then I think this is something that an insight you put together based on this book, but I think we've talked about this many times
It is.
before.
Yeah.
It's about there's certain things that you can do, doesn't mean you should.
It
And I
shouldn't
said
do.
that many
Right.
times, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well,
You
so
can, but should you?
that's exactly the point of where I'm going to go with this. So this is so this book, was really interesting and really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it to anybody. But what it made me start to think about was naturally, Amelia and I, whenever we're thinking about any of this stuff these days, it seems like it always drifts back to values, right? The omnivore's
Hmm.
dilemma is what we just talked about. Like if you can eat everything, what do you eat, right? So as I was listening to this book, my mind started to drift to the omni value dilemma, right? So
Hmm.
if you can have any value, what values do you have, right? So then this took me down the road of, with food, right? The thing that life's all about energy is really what it came down to for me. And it made me think about, well, here, let me retract. Let me backtrack. Like I was writing this reflection, it made me think about, after Amelia passed away and like everything was, the atomic bomb charred my whole life, right? Like, and I was looking at a completely blank slate in front of me. There was any path that I could go. Like I could take any path, a million paths, bajillion paths. We sat down and we spent a lot of time in thought and reflection and figuring out, answering questions, asking questions, answering questions, asking questions, answering questions, asking questions. Eventually started to pick a path forward, but it's like the natural question then becomes, okay, great, you've selected a path. You started to take steps forward and you decided to take steps forward. What's the next step you take? What do you do? Why do you do it? And then all these other questions start to stem from that, right? So then pausing on that, then picking back up with the omnivore's dilemma. This brought me back to the idea of, well, really life's about energy. If we're got to go forward and we're going to propel ourselves forward and we're gonna move forward, we need energy, right? So when we pick what the foods that we eat, we do it pretty simply, like what gives us energy and what doesn't give us energy. If you sit down and you pig out on 500 cupcakes and you're rolling around, puking and not feeling good, and your body's in misery, like you're not getting energy from that, right? Now if you go eat like what you figured out, your body gives you energy and how you function, and you're light, you feel fit, you feel, I sleep well, I can do what I want to do, but I'm not like weighed down, but I'm also not like, what, for whatever reason, whatever you decided to eat, and you're the choices of your omnivore's dilemma, has led you to consuming very particular things every single day. Same thing with me too. I mean, like I eat like a little meal bar every morning that never upsets my stomach, never makes me feel bad, and gives me energy to go on a run. Then I come back and I eat eggs for lunch basically, and some toast or whatever. Then I eat like these little like trifecta meals that are like these gluten-free, dairy-free, like salmon and vegetables or whatever for dinner, and maybe a snack of some like chips or whatever. None of these things really affect me, and then maybe I'll have a glass of wine like at the end of the night or whatever. Like none of these things, actually, to be honest with you, this actually takes away some energy from me. And I sometimes regret like having a glass of wine, because I wake up the next morning with a little bit less energy, and from the consumption of alcohol, and doesn't feel great. I don't drink every night obviously, but like it's when I do, like I definitely feel it the next morning of a little bit of energy source sucked away. But anyway, I go back to, this is all about energy, right? The foods you consume, you decide what you want to eat and not eat based off of how do you feel after you do that, right? Well, when it comes to taking a step forward in life, and my brain going through that way, like how I decided to take a step forward, and what I discovered, the number one thing that you and I have both discovered on this journey is, if you're going to take a step forward, you need a compass, right? And that compass is your values. But then you go, well, okay, then it's okay, great. I accept that values are my compass of what step I want to take forward, right? How do I pick what values there are? Well, it's the same kind of thing, I think, that it is with the food conversation. It's what gives you energy and what doesn't give you energy. Just like your elephant, is telling you with food, hey, this works, this doesn't work, this works, this doesn't work, this
Mhm.
like this doesn't work, Chris. Like you can't do this all the time, otherwise I will have no energy and you're not going to be able to do the stuff that you want to do every single day. Now you can either listen to me or you cannot listen to me, but I'm going to tell you either way, right? You know, it's the same thing with values. When you take that step forward, like if you listen to your elephant, it'll tell you whether or not, like through energy, of whether it's good energy or bad energy, of whether or not you are taking the right step forward. So for me, it's if you let your rider listen and observe your elephant closely, then you can figure out, okay, I did this and it gave me energy. I did this and it took away energy from me. So then the rider's job then at that point in time in this scenario of the omni value dilemma is to then watch and observe this and then take that. And then they go, okay, what is the source code of this? Like I did this, I played tennis today and it gave me energy. I argued with somebody about sales ops, all day long, and it sucked energy from me, and it felt like it was awful. Or I went to a conference and I had to, and I had to wake up super early and shake hands with people at a booth all day long, and then go to some cocktail event and talk to people about shit that I want to talk to them about, like that. And I felt drained all day long. I was miserable the entire time that I was doing it. Like, why was that? Right? That's when your writer needs to be conscientious of this stuff and figure out, see these events as they're happening and go, okay, this is why I think that this gave me energy and this did not give me energy. And then then the writer's job is to distill that feeling, that from that signal from your elephant into a word, and that word then becomes a value, like i.e. I enjoyed playing tennis because I really love competing, and challenging myself and blah 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 blah. And as I'm thinking about this from my writer's perspective, I go, great, challenging myself definitely is something that really energizes me, so I'm going to challenge myself. That's one of my values, right? So that's how you then pick your compass, of the omni value dilemma, of like, what do you do? It's all about energy. It's what gives you energy and what doesn't give you energy, and being able to recognize this or not recognize this, and then being able to distill that down to something you can remind yourself with. That's the omni value dilemma, right? Like, I mean, it's the same thing as the omnivore's dilemma of like, what do we eat? Like, it's all about energy. It's either getting energy to propel you forward in the way that you want to go forward, or you're sucking energy away from your body and going in a different direction. So I'll pause there. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember telling you about this concept a long, long time ago. I just wasn't as eloquent as you put it. I think the insight that you've have gathered throughout the last 3 years, plus this book, help you kind of like put insight even in a clearer way. Just like you say about, it's easy to understand something, but it's very difficult to, write
Right.
something
Right.
and because it takes mastery. And I think you get to that point. But in the past, what I was trying to say was, like if you eat junk, right, you feel awful. If
Right.
you eat good food, you feel good. Same thing with the brain. I say your brain, if you feel junk, i.e. like the kind of books you read,
Right.
it's gonna give you junk, right? It's going to drain you in a way. So I did. I remember saying that, and that's one of my I guess truism that I wasn't so clear.
Right.
That but I have to 100 agree with you. I think this is, to me, this is a valuable insight that even that I knew some of it, I didn't know how to I guess articulate that as much, until you started doing this today. I think this is a
Yes.
great way to I guess navigate
Yeah.
our life, and especially the thing is, it makes so much sense now to me, even though I kind of knew the concept, and I'm trying to teach myself the concept and tell people what I think. It doesn't have the same insight and clarity until now. But I
Right.
think you have like the same mechanism with food, because you can eat some, like you said,
Yeah.
you can eat like, hey, I eat, some people, like for me, I like steaks. If I steaks, I can work all day long and there's no side effect to it, and I am energized. if I eat, for example, if I eat some bread, right, flour or carb, I crashed. I 30 minutes afterward, I crashed for
Yeah.
like 2 3 hours, and I'm completely wiped out. So similar to you, if you are and you are celiac, so you eat anything that gluten, you're gonna have some upset stomach, or
It's awful feeling. Like
it's awful feeling.
just sucks the energy out of me. I mean, like literally, it literally sucks the energy out of me.
it's not fuel for you. It's essentially
it's
it takes
anti-fuel.
it's anti-fuel. It's just
Yeah.
the opposite. So you take the same concept, you applies to the mind, right? You read something, right? You read something, and if you don't agree with some of the aspect of the information, it's going to cost you some issue. For example, for me, like you say, well, I can go to some kind of a conference that I can shake people's hand, but it's not something
Sucks.
I want to do. You drain. You feel like you carry something heavy throughout the day, and you completely exhausted. You completely out of energy for some reason. But then you go to a tennis match, and you're running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you trying, you're hitting the ball at 100 miles an hour, and yet you still have energy to come and talk to me about, oh, I played 6 hours pickleball and tennis together today, and shit, I shouldn't have done it, but it was fun. So
It was fun.
it's a big difference between, because you look at the amount of physical energy that you exert from standing around, shaking people's hand, smile, versus running around, right? And completely like wore out your entire shoulders and body and feet and
Oh,
and
I heard.
whatever.
I've
And
every run that I've taken, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week has been like it's been like the 10 man, like, starting to run. It's like, like I'm like creaking, like
mhm.
as I start to my toe hurts because I think I hurt my toe because I was stopping and starting so hard for so long that like I think I jammed my big toe on my right foot. So every time that I take a step, like, and I push down at all on it,
Mhm.
it like feels like I'm like, somebody's like stabbing my toe. And I'm like, what the fuck? So like every day I've been running like on the outside of my foot so I don't put my toe down, and like my back hurts and my lower body hurts, and I'm like every fucking day has been like as I would start to finally run, and then eventually like I sort of break through, and then until I
Right.
get home and can take a cold shower and maybe heal a little bit. But I did all this stuff was a ramification of the other things that I did, but I loved it. I'm like, I wouldn't have changed that for in a heartbeat,
Yeah, I mean, the same thing for me is I can sit at my computer. I can code like 16 hours a day for the whole week to kind of to set up an architecture for an app or whatever. I can do that. But for me to do taxes, I mean, I don't really have to do my taxes. I just need to get the information from my bookkeeper.
Yeah, right.
And that completely, it just exhausts, drains me so much. Like, I didn't do shit. I just have to go and look for something.
Right.
And that, even in that aspect of the effort, it's so much.
It's
I don't know
so
about
much.
you. I don't know
No,
about you,
no,
but
it happens to me all the time. Do you know what Jira is? You ever used Jira before?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you
like the
share all the
ticketing
time.
system. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh my
because
God, dude.
yeah, I do Jira every single day. It's
Right.
like it's madness. I mean,
It is the worst.
Jira to me,
It's the
like, this is what I've
shittiest product
seen.
I've ever seen in my life. Like it is
This is what
awful.
I've seen, right? The thing is with Jira, you take a great developer, the great team of developers, you make them into the mediocre developer at best.
Like giving him
I've
Jira.
seen I've seen it. I,
Right. Oh yeah.
I don't know about. I mean, I've seen it because I work for companies that has Jira, and I
Right.
work for a company that doesn't have Jira. Right? There's a big difference between productive and good engineers, right?
Yes.
And then the same guy transform into the Jira system, they become mediocre. Because the thing is, what the fuck do
It
I do?
slows you down.
The only thing
It's the
you're doing is you're
worst.
asking me to go and do this admin work, and it's like, for me to put in this ticket, it takes me the fucking third, like 75%.
I just typed it all to you. I just sent you a Slack message. I just sent you an email. Fucking put it in Jira. Like I don't give a fuck what you got to do. Like I don't want to fucking do it. Then it makes me like spit like see how I'm already getting angry about this? Like this
Yes.
is what I'm talking about. It's like hey, you know what? It's already fucking done. Like I literally just you know, oh, it makes you want to like scream and blow my
I'm
fucking
telling
brains
you,
out,
you
like
turn an A team into a fucking C team overnight.
right.
And companies are doing that. And to me, it's like I said, look, Jira is not supposed to slow you down. It's supposed to be a
No.
tool to help you. But you
Yes.
take a great team and you just slow them down. And it's not just a little bit. I'm saying like
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
completely more than 50%. Like I'm saying is a team can deliver a product, a sprint in one sprint, a 2 week sprint, can deliver a bunch of like bugs, not bugs, but features and whatever is in the actual system, versus you're going to use Jira, it's going to take you 3 times as much, and it is a bunch of tickets. But a bunch of tickets
You
means
gotta
shit.
submit it
It
for
means
everything for
nothing.
all
It
this dumb
means
crap.
nothing. It's like
It is so
all
dumb.
you're doing is you are creating vanity metric.
If
And
somebody
I've
tells
seen it.
me
I've worked in this industry for 25 years. I've seen it. It's it's not for the developers. It's not for the company. It is for the managers to say, well, I did some work.
right,
And for
no,
whatever
you're right. Yeah,
reason, it's more of a CYA kind of thing, right?
it is. Yeah.
And a lot of these comes from, you know where these come from? It comes from the head of IT, the head of whatever. They want to deliver. They fucking report to his boss, his
Oh yeah.
CEO or whatever, and they say, hey,
Which
we have
I got a
done
funny story for that.
1,000 tickets, and we've done all these things. Give me more money, blah blah whatever.
Right.
As far as a product concerned, say, well, that's the way it is. That to me, that's why in a big company, so the big companies are like the Titanic. For them to turn, they cannot
Right.
turn.
Oh no, I got a best story for you when you're done. Go ahead, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying is, I've seen so many of these companies that have start out great, and then it just get into this muddy uh, terrain of the Jira hell. Jira. It takes like
Takes more
5
time to submit
fucking
the ticket than it is to
managers.
do what you
And it
do.
takes 5 fucking managers to manage one developer, and that
Right.
developer was working well, right, and doing like really good, and then you just slow them down and say, well, instead of you doing 5 different kind of features for this app, you doing one,
Right.
because go in there and write down some ticket. Can you give an estimate of this, and then can you add a bunch of details about how many story points you have, and what's the end date, what's the beginning date, what's the bunch of bullshit that is in Jira that
Yep.
that manager looks at, hey, I can get them to add. And so all day long is, as developer, you're in meetings, you take the meetings, then you go and you create the tickets, and you keep saying you gotta read the ticket.
You're
And
like, when do I actually do the fucking work?
You don't do the fucking work. You don't do.
Right,
I mean, it's like
right.
maybe like I would say like maybe 30% of the time you probably do the work,
Right.
or less, depending on how
It's
how
a flow
much.
interrupter. I mean, it's a deep work interrupter is what it is. I mean, like it's like and it's a collaboration interrupter. Like when you and I, if you and I want to collaborate on a project, and I'm like, hey, True, can you do X, Y, Z? And you're like, yeah, I can do that. But submit a ticket, and I'll get to it when it gets done. When you have time to finally go tell me exact same thing that I just told
I
you.
mean, not
And
only that it does that, because it's like the you put in a fucking ticket, right? So somebody, let's say you and I talk,
right.
I put in a ticket, and then somebody said, "Oh, yeah, gotta go meet with the fucking guy, tell the exact same thing."
Yep.
Right, and then
That's what I'm saying. The exact same. I
and
could
then
have literally just typed it to you.
you go to the stand up, and then you talk about, okay, what did you do? I'm working this ticket, that ticket. I want to talk. It takes you a fucking whole hour to do
Right.
to just tell you, okay, this is what I'm doing. Right. The
Could have done
point of
Could have done it in 5 minutes.
it is stand up is so you don't have to do it.
Right.
Say, look, I mean, people say the thing is, it's how there is a waterfall method, right?
There's a what?
And there's a waterfall method.
Oh yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
what they used to develop software a long time ago. Now they have this agile method, right? Which is supposed to be agile, mean, hey, we move fast. Today's agile is a waterfall plus the bullshit. So it's actually worse than waterfall.
Fair
because
enough.
the thing is, in a waterfall, we take the time to spell everything out. Okay, this is the way the schema works. This is the name of the table. This is what we do. This is what it said. This is the label. This is everything, right? It'll take you 6 months, a year, whatever, just to build out this stack of procedures of what to do, what screen to write or not. And you build out, and yeah, it takes you longer at first, but at least you know exactly what happened. Today, it's worse than that because you just throwing mud into a pool of mud. It doesn't add any value, and it's slower than before, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. Because the thing is, what's the point of agile if you're going to change it?
Yeah, that's true. Or you need to pause people and make sure you document it along the way. If you're being agile, be agile. Like I can't be in the middle of a tennis match and go, hey, I'm working on my agility, and go, wait a minute, I'm gonna go hit that ball, but like somebody needs to make sure they can tell me I can go hit that ball. I won't move until they tell me. And by the time that they tell me, the ball's already way over on the other side of the court, and I'm like, well, I lost the point. Like, you know, is that agile? That's not agile. That's fucking that's like
Yeah.
that's even way worse than what we had before, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
agile.
mean, but
You
back
pivot, you
back
move.
to the point, right? Back to the point.
But
It sucks a lot out of you when I have to do these things.
it's awful.
Like same thing with QBR. Like I don't get the QBR thing.
It's the dumbest
I just
thing.
don't. I just don't.
It is what do they call it? A rank and spank, you know, activity, right? Like, I mean, it's who cares? Like, I either know that I'm doing a good job or a bad job. Like, I mean, like, let's just be honest. Like, I mean, there's nobody in if I thought
I mean, at the end of the day, if what I do doesn't bring in the revenue, that is not a good reason to keep me. So a keeper doesn't do shit in that scenario.
Well,
Would you agree?
That's actually not even true. Because outcomes sometimes aren't necessarily the best indicator of whether or not somebody's actually contributing and doing what they can, right? Like sometimes you can't control the outcomes, and especially in sales, right? Or in anything, tennis, life, whatever.
Well,
you know,
I mean, yes, so, but doesn't mean shit though. To me, I don't care if it doesn't. You can't control the outcome. Let's say, I hire my mother for the sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she did everything. It's just like the product wasn't good, or the the market wasn't taking it, or whatever. I still gotta fire her, because it's not like I can continue to pay her to do, even though she did the right work.
Right, that's true. That's true.
You have to understand. You have to understand why there is a reason for us to do business. Yes, it's not her fault, but I can't continue to. I mean, so I have to cut the cost, which is like the sales or whatever, right? So it may be the product's fault. It may be the market's fault.
Here's a question: when you're a C student, do you know you're a C student? Whether or not you see your grade being a C, do you know you're a C student?
If you're a C student, you know you're a C student
without seeing the grade.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like when you know that you suck at something, even though you can try really, really hard at it, you know you suck at it, right? Like, I mean, like, okay, basketball. Like, I can try really, really, really hard at basketball. I fucking suck at basketball. Like, I don't know what it is. I can't dribble. Like, and I don't know why. I have like really good hand-eye coordination. Like really, 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 really good hand-eye coordination. Like people when I play tennis or pickleball or racquetball or badminton or ping pong, anybody is like, damn, you have really fast hands and really great hand-eye coordination. Then I go play basketball and I'm like, why can't I dribble the ball? Like it's like my hands are too tiny or something. I don't know, man. But it's like I feel like I'm like an idiot that's like, you know, banging drums or something. I'm like, I can't dribble the ball. You know, I can't figure this thing out.
Chris the monkey.
I mean, that's how I feel like. And when I try to shoot the ball, I'm like, wait a minute, hand in, hit it, you know, go like this, and then it's like clank, 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 clank all the fucking time, and I'm like, what am I fucking doing wrong? I'm like, I can't, like, the only value that I add on a basketball court is I'm fast, I'm aggressive, and I'm competitive, right? So if you try to score on me, like I steal the ball a lot, I get in your path, I'm a really good defender, and like I don't back down. If I don't care how big you are or small you are, if you want to step up to, like, fine, great. Also, I'll try to go spurt past you with my one move that I have, which is run as fast as I can to my right hand and try to get around you because I'm tiny, and then try to throw up a shit layup shot or whatever. Like everything else, I'm awful at in basketball, right? But like the truth is I know that I don't even know that I'm a C basketball player. Okay, I'll at least say I'm a C bat because I have skills, but not good skills. Like I mean, it isn't. I don't know that I could put in. I could spend every day. I could go Larry Bird this thing and go on a basketball court for shoot 500 free throws every single day. Practice my fucking deliberate practice my ass off, and I think I would still be like a C+ student. Like I mean,
Yes,
like
yes.
it would.
I mean,
never
you
be better.
go from a C, an average C to C+ if you try really hard on something you don't like.
Right.
It's a guarantee, because the thing is, there's not so much like alignment, right? When you don't have any natural tendency for a certain thing.
Right.
For one, it takes so much tremendous willpower and energy to actually sit there. I mean, if you hate basketball and for you to throw 500 free throws a day, that's torture.
It's torture.
That is completely torturing. So to me, that's one of the things that people need to, and like I said, people understand where they are. That's what I'm saying is, when you can do something, doesn't mean you should, because your brain tells you, hey, just like when you eat, your body tells you. It's just like I just ate, I just ate something today, and I completely got knocked out just because, and my body said, hey, this food isn't good for you. Don't do it anymore, right? And so your body tells you the kind of food that it likes, it aligns with it, it can use it to convert to energy, or some food that it's just not good, not aligned, and needs to toss it out. And it takes people and energy inside of itself to throw out this food and protect you from getting hurt.
Dude,
and so that takes energy. So same thing with your brain will say, well, so there is multitude of layers of defense in the mind. The mind's going to say, well, this is boring, I can't take it, I don't want to do it, stop doing it. It tells you, right?
Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop.
But yeah, but so one of the I guess the challenge for us today is because we have a multitude of tools in our tool belt. To actually do it, you actually override the natural tendency of that elephant to say, hey, the elephant say, hey, I need to go to this path because I smell water or whatever. You can actually yank them to do something else. So this is the reason why people don't understand something they should not do and continue to do. Just like I told you, if you hate being a medical doctor and now you have sunken 3 years and $600,000 into medical school, and it's 1 year left, and you found it, and you found this, hey, I don't like it. They cannot get out of it because there's other like the mental aspects that it's overriding that, just like a rider pulling an elephant to the right versus to the left or whatever.
It's an escalation of commitment is what it's called in psychology. Yeah.
So escalation of commitment, and also that your ability, for example, your ability to endure. Let's say enduring is one of the aspects. You are using one of the aspects to actually steer,
do
just
the
like,
wrong
hey,
thing.
so you can imagine, hey, the elephant wants to go to the right, and this is where the water source is going to be. You basically go say, hey, I'm going to dangle a carrot to the left, right? So yes, the elephant saying, I like water, I also like carrots. So as a human being, water, we have multitudes. We have multitude of ways to force ourselves to do certain things, and because we are multitude, the omnivore's dilemma, the omnivalues dilemma, right? In this case, the omnivalue dilemma. There's so many values you can take. You and I can go and take grits and use it and be good and be on that path. And I did before. I did it. I mean, that means that I hustle on the bus, so I do things I don't want to do. I eat the frogs every day, right? I did it. Because I have other mental capacity, other mental fortitude to go and forge a path that is not natural for me, I could do it as a human being. And I'm not just saying me. I'm saying me because I'm talking, but I'm saying me as in everybody. Everybody has the same capacity to do things that they are not lying with them. For example, Chris, you can be very competitive, and it can override some of the other core values of being, honest and
integrity. I mean, it absolutely. I mean, if I let that trump that, like, then it'll do it. Like, I mean, it'll yes, I think it's a great point.
And that's a danger is because when we see that we could do it, that we're able to accomplish it, we thought that's the way to do. But I'm saying it is not, because you have the ability to overcome it doesn't mean it's the right way. So you're gonna have to listen subtly to your natural ability, natural tendency. Like, do I even like it? I mean, so for me, I can go and talk to people, right? I can go say, you want me to go be a CEO, and I can go be a CEO, meaning I need to go sell, I go sales. Okay.
Mhm.
If you need me to be, but I hate that job. I don't want it.
Right.
I do not want it. And
I,
and the thing is,
somebody asked me to go to a Salesforce event here in Indianapolis and go to the tower and go. Literally, the ask was, can you go wine and dine some people with me at a Colts game and go to the tower and go give a presentation to some of the AEs? And I was like, do you need me to? And they're like, yeah, I really do actually. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I mean, I'm like, but
that's overriding your elephant.
like,
You
yeah,
are
right,
overriding it. When that's the thing is that for me to go and do the thing that I want to do, it takes so much. I will be exhausted at the end of the day. Okay.
I told him that. I was
And,
like, I literally was like, I do not want to do this. Just so you know, I will do it because I care about you, the person in particular that you asked me to do this. And you know, ironically, one of the activities he was asking me to do was to go to the old office building that I used to work in. That I liked. I liked that office building. And then to go to a Colts game, who I am a former season ticket holder of the Colts. It's not that I don't like going to Colts games. Like, both of these activities I actually like to do. But what he's asking me to do at these places was like is the exact opposite of what I would call fun, which is meeting random ass people and trying to find a way to connect with them on absolutely nothing that I don't give a shit about. I don't give a fuck if you want to buy business. You know,
I mean, you think so in that scenario, I can give you a perfect example. You know, let's say you like dumplings or whatever. So the dumplings and everything smells good, but then I inject a little poison inside of the dumpling, and that's what you're eating. So you can see the analogy there, right?
Oh yeah,
There is so many good wrappings around there, and around there. Say you like the couch, you like the building, you know, there's things that you like, and then there's some teeny little surprise in the middle.
But what you're asking me to do there is not what I want to do in
right
those places.
Because when you imagine I put a poison pill inside of that dumpling, it tastes, it's tempting, it smells good, it probably maybe tastes good when I eat it. I'm going
That's
to
not
be,
what I want, man.
whatever the poison is, you know, it can knock me out or give me stomach ache or, you know, kill me, whatever. So there is poison. It's just like the omnivore's value dilemma is there are certain values that are poisonous to your mind.
It is.
And
I mean,
and if you are using the wrong cue to determine whether or not this is the way you navigate, then you will always be in the wrong place for yourself.
I totally agree with what you're saying. Actually, I think that this is, for the first time, I mean, we've talked about this before. The elephant is really the star of the show, right? It's always the star of the show, and it will
always
be
the star of the show.
But in this scenario, because one of our human superpowers in a weird way is our ability to choose. Like, we can choose a lot, anything, pretty much. Like, I don't want to say infinite paths, but we have a shitload more paths than most other mammals or other plants or animals in this world of what we get to choose our actions on a given day, and what we consume, what we don't consume, what we do, what we don't do. I mean, that's one of our superpowers.
I mean, the thing is, human being as a whole, it's an elephant and a rider. That's human being as a whole. But animal is just the elephant, right?
Right. Exactly. Right. So this is what I'm getting at: is this dilemma, the omnivore dilemma, or the omnivalue dilemma, or whatever other dilemma you want to ask, you know, any dilemma out there, is really the rider's time to shine. Like, this is when the rider needs to step the fuck in and observe, take in all that it's observed, and be observant. Like, right? Fucking observe. If your rider is just asleep at the wheel all the time and not observing what's going on, you'll continue to go down the wrong path all day, every day. You and I have both done that in certain areas of our lives in the past. And like the rider's just asleep at the wheel, and you're like, no, yeah, just keep going, yeah, it's fine, like, yeah, no, we're taking the right road to Illinois or to Chicago, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, we're in fucking, you know, Austin, Texas. And you're like, how the fuck did we get here? Like, in the rider's like, I don't know. I thought we were going the wrong way. Like, I don't know. Like, clearly we went the wrong way, and now I'm all stressed out. And now everybody's, and you know, what I was getting at is it's like this in this exact scenario of what we're talking about. This is the rider's time to shine. This is the rider's Super Bowl. Like, this is when the rider needs to step the fuck up and tell us, okay, great, yes, you gave me a signal. I'm going to take that signal and interpret that signal, and then figure out how to piece it all together, right? And to make some sense of it that I can guide my elephant, you know, in the future. This is the rider's time to shine. Is the omnivore.
This is probably the designed purpose for the rider, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is what we talked about before: is the rider has to be able to communicate with the elephant. We talked about the elephant whisperer in the past. This is what we're talking about. Is right. you yourself has to be in tune to your mind, what it is telling you. Your body, you have to be in tune with your body in terms of the omnivore's dilemma. You have to be in tune with your body. Okay, what will you eat? So when you eat something, how does it feel? Because I let me ask you this question rhetorically. Most of the time, do you tell yourself that, you know, what I feel a little bit out of place because of this or that? You don't. You just say, well, I don't know. I just feel weird today, and then you just brush it off. You didn't kind of understand and listen to your body, as most people would not have done that, and include me in the past. Is I don't listen, but nowadays that I am very particular about the kind of food I eat.
Anything changed your life. You're listening for the first time in your life, and it's changed your life.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you're able to listen to it, to your body, versus before is you just chow down a bunch of things. Which one costs what?
And you say, fuck it. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
you say, I don't know, and you repeat the same thing, and you start doing the same thing for 30, 40 years, and you're asking why.
The compound effect destroys your body, and I mean, your elephant, and you
become chronic illness in diabetes, blood pressure, hypertension, whatever, Alzheimer's, cancer, whatever. It's just on the rise. And you say, well, it's on the rise. Why is it on the rise? No one asked why it's on the rise. No one asked why diabetes is on the rise. Nobody asked why heart attacks on the rise. Nobody asked why high blood pressure is on the rise. Nobody asked why, people are having Alzheimer on the rise.
Right. Well, right? This is why ideas like mindfulness and meditation and all these things have risen to such, like almost comical, in my opinion, like it'll solve everything. Like you want to solve all your problems, just meditate. Just be mindful.
I mean, that's the thing. It's just like putting a lid on something. Instead of this is the same thing. It's like you driving down the highway in a car, and there's this check engine light comes on. You take a piece of tape and you tape it over. This is my fucking meditation.
I didn't see it. Like I didn't see it.
I just tape over.
That's what happened. Actually, that's really funny you mentioned that. My car. I know that my car is getting old. I have a Mini Cooper Countryman. It's got 100. I bought it brand new back in 2012. It's 2023 right now, and it's I love the car. It's been a great car. It's got 130,000 miles on it. My wife just bought a new Tesla. I don't want to buy a new car. And I'm tired of dealing with the fucking bullshit. I barely drive it ever anymore. Like I only drive it to like go play tennis and go play pickleball and maybe go, to the grocery store, go visit a friend or something like that on the weekends, or go play golf. It's usually when I'm doing recreational stuff or hanging out with my friends or family or whatever. Right. So like it most of the time it just sits on the driveway, take the son to work or to daycare every day, it is what it is, right? Like, well, the other day I was driving down to my parents' house to go to dinner, and pulled in and I was telling my mom, like, yeah, I was on the highway the other day, and like the felt like when I was hitting the gas, like felt something weird with like on my foot in the gas pedal, and then this engine light came on, and and she was like, well, did you go get it looked at? And I go, this is no joke. Got to the next light. Finally, when I got off the interstate, I got to the light. I turned my car. I hit the start and stop button on and off, and the light went off for like a hot minute. And when I hit the gas again, it didn't make that weird feeling. And I was like, it's fine, it's good drive. So then a couple weeks later, I come back to my parents' house, and my mom's like, did you get your car checked out? And I go, no, not yet. Like, is it still been doing the same thing? Yeah, it's been kind of doing the same thing. I put a quart of oil in it or whatever, and I was hoping that would work, but it didn't really seem to work. And she was like,
just go wash your car or fix it.
So fast forward again another 2 weeks, like or 3 weeks, and we were over at my parents' house again for dinner on Saturday, and my mom, is putting Luca in the car, and we're getting ready to leave, and she's like, did you get your car checked out again, finally? And I go, no, but the check engine light went off. And she was like, well, what'd you do? And I go, like, I didn't do anything. She's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. This is what you're talking about. It's like, obviously I know there's something wrong with my car. like I just don't want to care. I really don't want. I don't want to open up that Pandora's box, even though that I know it's probably only going to get worse. And maybe the more that I let it drag on, it'll probably result in like a $5,000 car bill.
It will show up at the most
I'll be driving to Chicago on a business trip, and my car's gonna blow up, and I'm gonna be on the side of the road and miss some meetings up there or something like that, and I'm gonna go, oh fuck, should have fixed this a long time. I should have known. The engine light's been on for quite a while, and and people have been asking about it. I've literally been like, no, I'm good. Yeah, it's fine. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying is, it's sometimes we have the power, and the power can be abused, right? And it's very difficult to maintain this straight, narrow path toward what you're supposed to be. And so having the ability, it requires responsibility. Yes. Without that, this is where we got ourselves into. We can become chaotic. Our brains have become into this mush. Our body becomes. You look at the American, even the whole population. You take a look at the whole population in general. The health crisis is so alarming. I'm talking about like,
it's fucked up.
3 out of 4 people are going to be diabetic, like diabetic. I mean, I'm talking about just like straight diabetic. So you're not diabetic today, but you're going to be diabetic soon. So 3 out of 4, that's fucking 75% of people will become diabetic in their life. Okay. And not only that, the kids are getting it now. I'm talking about how can you get diabetes when you're that young?
Not only that, it's not just kids. It's kids that are poor, and you're like, wait a minute, you don't have any money. How are you eating all this food? And you're like, what the fuck? You're 400 pounds, and you live, on food stamps, and you're like, how are you that big? And I don't mean this in an offensive way. I'm being like dead serious. It's because it's
a serious problem.
Right, it is a serious problem. Like it's cheap, affordable food that's garbage. I mean, it's just garbage food.
It's just garbage, and garbage creates garbage results. And that's what I'm saying is, as a person, you have a certain tendency for something, whether that's red meat, avoid gluten, eat some people like they cannot survive without rice, right? And so that's their comfort food. That's the stable. So they eat them, and they can work like miraculous. Like they can work like 12 hours a day and not.
Potatoes and rice for me, I can eat it all day long.
Yeah, how do you sustain that? It's because it's aligned with them.
The little meal bar I mean in the morning, it's a rice kind of meal bar, and I can eat rice all fucking day long and never feel full. I can never feel tired, never feel lethargic. Right. Like if I eat wheat, like I mean, it's like I'm going to a fucking coma and glaze over, and it's horrible. It's literally it feels like somebody sucked the soul out of me, and
Yeah.
like I can't function, and I feel just
And
awful.
and so you take that and you extrapolate that to the mind. It's the same thing. Is you give him things that he doesn't like to do. It's the same thing as eating food that's not aligned. And so you look at this scenario. This is where the writer has failed. This is where the writer's job, his only fucking job,
right.
and he has failed. And so the thing is, get your writer's butt back up and get him to talk to the fucking elephant. I understand what the elephant means when he gives you signals. And so to me,
you know what's funny is when the writer does engage is when is when you don't want the writer to engage. It's when your elephant's deep in doing its thing and it's in its flow state, and your writer's like, oh no, I just want to hop in here and fuck everything up, you know? Like,
Yes.
And you're like, what are you doing, man? Like, I don't need you right now. Like, but like when you do need them, when the check engine lights on,
backseat driver. You know?
you're like, I'm cruising on the highway right now. Like everything's great. The car's running great. Like leave me alone, you know? Like don't fuck with me right now. But it's like the check engine light comes on, like you said, and the writer's like, yeah, just put your hand over it. It's fine. Like we'll figure that out later. And you're like, wait a minute, but I'm showing you there's a problem. And you're like, no, we got this. We got this. I you know, and you're like, I'm telling you, help me. And they're like, he's like, no. And then the other time when you're just cruising along, everything's great. He's like, no, you should watch out for that car. Watch it. Do that. You gotta make sure turn things on. Like,
I mean, the elephant has a nest stuck on his foot. He's like, well, it's okay. I don't see it. And then I sometimes say, hey, watch for that leaves. Say,
why tell me, man? I don't care. Like you just blocking me. You know,
I'm limping because there's a nail under my foot. Right? I need you to help me get it out. But no, you're telling me it's not there. You whip and say, hey, go. And then at certain times, like, hey, there's a leaf there. Oh, there's a little puddle. They say,
right. You're like, yeah, exactly. You're like, why are you bothering me with this bullshit? You know, like, I mean, I'll tell you when I need your help, you know, and it's up to your writer to listen. I mean, that's really, I think if there's the number one takeaway from this conversation for me, it would be like, listen when you really need to listen. Right. And then when you do that, spend the time to use I think you made a really good point about what's the difference between a human and an elephant? Nothing other than the writer, right? Like, because we're both elephants. Like, we both have an elephant component to us, right? But the writer is the big difference, right? And I know that sounds obvious, but it's not. Like, you know, like the writer can only do so much, but you need to understand what the writer's purpose is and how to help your elephant. Like, because an elephant can't help its elephant other than evolutionarily, I guess, you know, like after a bunch of elephants die because they can't figure something out, and evolution over a long period of time will help it out. But we can help out our elephant every day if we want to. All we have to do is just listen, like, and be attentive, you know, and be ready to act when we need to act, and to help to choose when we need to help to choose. That's our job. That is the writer's job, right? You know, and like this is how you overcome the dilemma, right? Like, you know, let your elephant try everything, you know, but just watch and observe, right? Like, I mean, like it's the one thing that I would never want
be a coach. You got to be a coach.
Exactly. That's exactly what
elephant. You got to be the coach to the elephant.
Exactly what it is be a coach. It's what I don't want to ever encourage anybody to do is to not try, right? Like, you got to keep taking steps forward. Let your elephant just keep walking. But then when they eat something new, or they take a different path, or they do whatever, watch and figure out if that's what we all agree that we want to be going down, you know, like, and that's really it. I mean, it doesn't sound that crazy, but like, or hard, but it really is. Like, you got to stay attentive at the fucking steering wheel, you know, like, you got to be alert to the signals that are being put out to you in this world. And if you're not alert to these things, then you're not doing your job.
Right. Yep. Can't agree more.
Awesome. All right. So that's kind of final thoughts for me for the night. Any final thoughts for you?
Yeah. So for me, is in this reflection, it's really give me some new insights about. I mean, it's not new in terms of what we want to talk about, but new insight of us understanding is the I guess the reflection is the only values that, I mean, we have so much value, and because we can't do something doesn't mean we should do it. Meaning,
Right.
we need to watch out for these false values that we thought were supposed to be alignment with us. But the bigger lesson that we can learn from this, which is what we talked about before, is you have to be in tune with your body and your mind. You have to become the elephant whisperer, meaning you have to understand it. So when you have a car and it has make a certain rattle, you need to understand what that rattle means. A certain
Right.
whiz, right? A certain like noise, whatever noise that the car makes. Can you at least guess what it is? So you have to be in tune with elephant. You have to be in tune and be able to communicate with elephants. So becoming an elephant whisperer is, to me, one of the biggest, I guess, guiding reflection that kind of encompass some of these, like, the Omni values one. So I'm saying is, focus on that. Focus on, like you said, but back to what we're saying is, what is Clubberny? Clubberny is a meaningful working relationship. But how do we achieve that? We go back to, okay, become an elephant whisperer. And then we
Yes.
say, okay, what does that mean to become an elephant whisperer? Well, if you take
You just
yourself
try stuff and
subconscious,
listen.
yeah, you get
Right.
subconscious as, system one, system two, and elephant rider is in this way. Well, how do you guys are all communicating in tune with another? And to me, that's probably the first step in terms of finding out when the elephant does something, right? What does it mean, right?
Right.
And because the elephant experience something, you also understands it, and you understand something the elephant understands. So to us, that is probably the fundamental you have to go onto this journey, and then go into this journey of self discovery require you to the two of that entity to be in sync,
Yep.
because otherwise you're not going to be achieve meaningful work and meaningful relationship.
I totally agree. After this conversation, like, because this that whole thing with like somebody asking me to do this presentation at Salesforce Tower, and
Mm-hmm.
then going to taking these people out to the Colts game on the Sunday or whatever afterwards. So I'm supposed to do this on a Friday and then go out with these people on a Sunday. Of up in October, so in a month from now.
Mm.
And after this conversation, like, I've already committed to it, but like it's if I'm being honest with you right now, like, I should say, no, you should find somebody else to do this, because this is not this is not going to be you want to come out with me later on,
I mean, this is exactly,
know.
this is what you're saying is, I'm drinking this wine, right?
Right.
I love the taste of the wine. I love all the experience of wine, but the alcohol is in it, right?
Right.
You don't want the alcohol, right? Because, yeah, the thing is, there are so many different, I guess, ingredients and whatever is in that wine, right? That's good for you. Like red wine is good for you, but the alcohol isn't. So just like
It does. Yeah.
this opportunity, we're going to the Salesforce Tower and go to the Colts game, right? It is good for you, but in it has something
Shit that I don't want to
that
do.
doesn't align,
Right. Yeah.
right?
I don't like to get dressed up. I don't like to be around a bunch of people that I don't know talking about stuff that I don't give a shit about what they care about or not. Like, I don't like to network with people. Like, this particular guy that's asked me to do this loves these things. This is why he is putting on this event to do this stuff, and he's asking for me because I'm technically a leader of this company to go do this with him, right? Like, when I didn't go to Dreamforce a couple weeks ago, like, do you think I cared? I didn't care. Honestly, I didn't give. I was like, thank God I didn't have to go. Oh my God, like, I went to the other big conference that Salesforce has a couple months ago. It's called Connections. But I didn't go to the conference. I didn't see anybody that I worked with other than my teammates, other than my employees, other than my Club Any Light people. And I just took them out to dinner. We had a fun night. We talked about nothing related to work, and we had a good time. And then I went home. I didn't see anybody. Actually, my own boss pinged me and she was like, "Did you ever make it up there?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And she was like, oh, I didn't see you. Oh, yeah, that's because when I got there, I went on a run for 4 miles around downtown Chicago, and then I came back to my hotel, got some dinner, slept, woke up the next morning, took another like 5 mile run while you guys were all at a conference. Then I wandered around the city for a little bit, listened to a book for a while, went to did whatever I was doing, met my team at a dinner. We hung out all night long, and then and took them out to a few places, and then I went back home. That's why you never saw me, because I didn't come anywhere fucking near you people, because I didn't want to. But the people that I wanted to see, I did. I wanted nothing to do with any of that entire bullshit. Like, I would have flown to San Francisco and done the exact same thing in Dreamforce if I was allowed to. But that's a whole different animal in terms of cost, and I understand that, and that's fine. Like, but the point being is, like, if you were to say, oh yeah, you should come out and you should go help us out with meeting customers and yada yada yada, I'd be like, nope, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, even as my role, I know we're past time because I need to go, but even the funniest thing ever is in this role, right? Like I'm technically supposed to be like, the way that most people do my job is they're like the main point person for, they're the authority in the sales cycles. Like, they want to be engaged, they want to be involved, they want to know,
they want to be in every meeting.
They want to be in every meeting. They want to go fly out to visit these customers. They want to go. They want to be where the action is. And when I, in my role, I go, I don't want any fucking thing to do with any.
That's why I have you guys.
That's why I have you guys. Like, I don't. You know what I want to do? I want to coach you. I want to talk to you about what your experience was, and we can go out to have dinner, and we can go out and do all this other. I would take you out, and we'll have some fun, or we'll talk about the stuff, or we'll have conversations, or I'll coach or whatever. But like, I'll help you, but I don't give a shit about. I don't want to be the person that's doing this stuff anymore, because if I did, I would do it. I don't want to do that. Like,
I mean, you think about an army general being in the front line.
that would be so stupid. But then there's some thought that's like, well, if you're out in the front lines, the people doing the job, like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't ask my team to do. I don't do stuff that I don't ask my team to do. Like, I'm sorry.
It's not that you can't do. It's just that you cannot do both, because
it's not my job.
The thing is, the way the army works is that you start out at the lower level, and you serve those officers until you have enough experience to lead. And once you lead, you cannot be in the front line, because
if you want to lead,
you can't. The general cannot be in the front line, because if you do that, you're gonna fucking fail the mission.
But there's paths to grow that aren't leadership paths. Like, my wife's mom is a senior master sergeant, which is the highest ranking non-officer.
Right. I'm talking about the general. So the master sergeant is supposed to be, the master sergeant is like the mother hen.
Yes.
That
person, and the soldiers respect that person way more.
The person is gonna put these soldiers in line, and they have to be there. That's the job. But you're talking about a general that directs and figured out how to win the war. If the general is doing his job as this mother hen, like the master gunner is, you are not able to do any kind of strategic thinking. So you cannot be the coach and go out there and do things yourself as well. Because you may do once, or you maybe go and out, you do a little bit, but you cannot do both jobs. You have done it before. That's how you know how to direct these new younger soldiers, right? So the thing is, you have to move up the ranks to become a general. You can't just say, okay, I become a general. You can't do that,
right? Because
you have done that, then you're able to go and you become a general, and you strategically plan out the different. Otherwise, if you don't do your job as a general, the likelihood of you losing the war, right, and you're gonna lose your country, it is very, very high. And so, like I said, you can't. It's not like the old days anymore. No fucking general is gonna be on the front line anymore. And the old days, you're the king. You got, and even those kings that goes out there in the front line, usually they die. I mean,
I know. Yeah,
I mean, you don't die the first battle, you probably die the second battle. If not that, but the second battle, you die the 10th battle. You will die, right?
Exactly.
How can you maintain a kingdom? Thing is, who's gonna protect the kingdom when you're gone?
Right. Yeah,
So
you're
if you
spot
go
on,
out
man.
there and you go and you lead the charge and whatever, like, yes, yeah, your kingdom's gonna die. The thing is, you're a fucking idiot. You going to leave your people, your wife, your family, your kids can get suffer. They are going to get tortured. This is what you're doing. This is your stupid bravado. So general cannot be in the front line. Yes,
if you want to be in the front lines, then be in the front lines, but don't be a general. Like, is what you're saying. Like, if you want to be in the front lines, don't be in the front lines, but don't be a general.
Role, like a certain role, right? I'm not talking about leadership in a way. I'm talking about the role. Okay.
Yes. If you're not in the right role, then don't be in the right role. Like,
yes, the role they dictate that you cannot be in the front line.
My role now is not to be in the front line.
Exactly. That's my point.
And that's role.
And that's my analogy, right? It's not about leadership at all. It's not. It's about the role that you have. It's your job. It's your fucking job. What is your one single job?
The number one problem that I've seen, and I did this myself too, because I like a lot of times, especially in the sales world, when you're really good at what you do as an individual contributor, as a soldier, if you will, you get promoted to being, managing.
Okay, like I say, you can't become this coach unless you have done the sales stuff yourself in the past, and you have successfully excel in these,
But there's a reason why Steve Kerr is an NBA champion as a coach, and Michael Jordan is not. Because Steve was never, even though he was an okay individual contributor, his actual skill sets were more so about leadership and whatever. And he found a way to find himself in that role now. And Michael Jordan, I mean, to be fair, I don't know that he's ever found his niche again after, because his niche was what he did. Like he was the best at it. Like, clearly, like, I mean, he needs to get back to being in the fucking a dog in the fight. Like, I mean, if Michael Jordan really wants to be Michael Jordan, like, that's who he is. He needs to be out there competing with people and kicking somebody's fucking ass, whatever the hell he's doing it as a contributor, not as a leader.
Right. But Steve Kerr was also a player, right? So it's not to say, and you're right, there are certain I guess tendency in of terms of like talent, like when you become a coach, like Michael Jordan isn't a good coach because he has a different, not a good owner either. He's a different talent, right? Yeah, he has a different talent. It has nothing wrong with that. The Steve Kerr is, has a more suited tools in his tool belt to become.
But he also wasn't a great player. He was an okay player. He wasn't.
But he still has to be a player before becoming a coach. You can't just become a coach without becoming a player.
Right.
Yeah, so a general cannot become a general without becoming a soldier first.
But they're never. It's very rare to be the best of the best of the best soldier and then be the best of the best of the best general or leader of soldiers. Right?
Exactly. It's about those levels. You have to attain and learn some level. So that you can't be a worse soldier either, right?
I agree.
You have to be an okay, and then when you start to become more advanced and more narrow in terms of your focus, then you start to excel in those things. And when you see certain paths that there's some people who start out as an enlisted soldier, and then they veer into this, let's say, a medical officer or a line officers, or the gunny, right, the master sergeant path, where they are the DI, right? Most DIs are like master gunnies, right? And so there are certain paths that they become good at, right? And so at the first level, everybody is like, yeah, there is a great soldier, but he can't become a fucking medical officer just because he become a great soldier, right? So there are certain specialties that require a little bit more than just a basic. And then once you get to the second level, there's also a common thread there. And then you go to another level. So the path starts to narrow for that person. Right. So the person who isn't the best soldier may be the best general, but he has enough common, like basic qualification in each level for him to become. He can't be like, hey, I can't do 10 pull-ups or 20 pull-ups. I can pass PT and become a general later on is just it doesn't work that way.
I mean, you're spot on. Like I would, I'm not trying to be stupid about this, but like, I feel like I could go be a professional tennis coach, and be pretty damn good at it, because like the stuff that we think about and talk about, and the stuff that I care about, coupled with my knowledge of tennis,
these are the
general,
coach's ability.
right? These are things that like honestly, like coaching is like a supplemental writer, right? Like you're like you need to be observing their elephant and watching what they're doing, and being able to point out to their writer, and then help their writer to figure out what okay, oh, I get it, like, like, so you need to be like this, like, super writer, basically. It's like I mean, I don't know what you want to call it, but like you have to be this like supplemental writer that's like riding on the back of the side saddle, but you can't tell either their elephant or the writer what to do, but you can point out to that writer, to their writer, to be like, hey, you should probably look at this, and then ask them intelligent questions to figure out how did we get to that, right? And then they can discover for themselves, right? Because a lot of times, like that's the best analogy I can give to be a good coach, but that doesn't mean that you have to be able to recognize what's going on, right? Like, so to do that, to your point, you need some relevant skills and knowledge of what they're doing in order to recognize what's happening, whether it be psychologically, physically, in the actual activity that they're doing. Like, you have to be able to recognize all these different things, right? Like, and that would be somebody that would be a better
recognition is one of the coach's core abilities. Without that, then you cannot become a coach.
That's exactly right. Like, and that's fine.
You can be a good basketball player, but you cannot recognize, the strengths and weaknesses of your players. You cannot become a good coach. So a coach job has a certain core needs. Without that, you cannot do that job.
And I can guarantee you, I am more, observant. I think I can almost guarantee you this, that I am right now am more observant. Or, you know what, fine, well, leave me off the court. Steve Kerr is more observant than Michael Jordan is. I would almost be willing to guarantee that Steve Kerr has more perceptible abilities to see what's going on, and to be a secondary, supplemental writer for a lot of other people, including himself, than Michael Jordan does for other people. Like, I think if you ask Michael Jordan, why is he Michael Jordan, I think he would go, I have no idea. Like, I mean, I honestly think he would say that. I think he might be able to make up some shit about, like, I don't know, I'm really competitive, or I just, I don't know. I don't know.
Some bullshit without understanding, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, but if you ask Steve Kerr, like,
this is why, we know a certain concept we want to do, but for you to come in and say, well, this is omni value. Oh, omni value. So that's the recognition we're talking about. Exactly. Because it's hey, I know there's something, but what did you call it? How do you like isolate
label this? How do you how do you identify?
How does it use? How do you use it? How do you activate it? Right. How do you make use of it? Blah blah. So the thing is, that is the role and responsibility of a coach. That's a coach's trait. So having that trait makes you a better coach, because you have that trait.
Exactly. I think that, but that is the trait of a coach. So like, I was always successful as a sales professional.
So Michael Jordan is a coach. Was a coach.
No, of himself, maybe.
Well, he was a coach. He was the owner. He wasn't want to be a coach.
Oh, he couldn't. He's an awful owner too. I mean,
but he's also a coach.
Right. Yes, and he was awful at
it. Right. So the thing is, I'm saying is a good coach versus a bad coach. Right. A bad coach, I mean, you get into the responsibility without the ability.
Yes, that's exactly right. All right, we're down a rabbit hole, but it's an interesting rabbit hole. But it's anyway, it's always fun. We're way past time, so time to call it a night. All right, question we can leave for everybody is, how do you choose the values that matter most to you in the world? And I think that's the omni value dilemma. So I think we.
I really like that word. I really like the word omni value. I think I'm gonna start using it.
Right on. I got one. All right.
That's a great one. Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
See you.